Lights, camera.
We don't believe in using celebrities in the way the industry uses them.
एड देखा, अच्छा लगा, अगली बार तुम गए एंड यू रिमेंबर्ड.
हमने शुरू किया था कि अपन एक प्रोडक्ट का ऐड बनाएंगे. So this also becomes a brand film for you.
Yeah,
It's not just a product film.
that's true. How do you find a way to position a small Nagpur-based brand?
What's your beef with research agencies? Welcome to all of you, and depending on the time of the day that you're going to be watching this, a good morning, good afternoon, or a very good evening. For those of you who don't know us, well, that's Kaval Shur, founding partner of the advertising agency called The Womb,
Hi.
and I'm Naveen Talreja, founding partner of the same advertising agency called The Womb. So why are we here today? Well, until now, we've let our work do the talking. But time has taught us that we may actually have a lot more to say. Things that actually lead us to the kind of work that we do, our experiences, and what we learn from them every day. You know, our industry may be going through whatever. It may be changing shape, changing form, it may be feeling threatened. But ideas that evoke feelings, well, those will never go obsolete. Well, today, as the industry finds itself at its crossroads, it is the duty of industry leaders like ourselves to trigger the interesting conversations. And that is what we have decided to do. And why not? We are coming out today, introducing Out of the Womb. An original podcast series from The Womb. So, what is Out of the Womb going to be about? Well, most certainly it's going to be about some interesting conversations, well, at least we hope that those conversations will be interesting. And we will try and put these out as often as we can. But very surely, only if we have something interesting to talk about. Out of the Womb will be about opinions, insights, ideas, not just ours, but also of our clients, filmmakers that we work with, filmmakers that we don't work with, photographers, editors, music directors, so on and so forth. The kind of people and the people who make up the advertising ecosystem in this country. But we won't stop there. We are going to talk about creativity even with artists, painters, installation people. Why not? You know, their perspectives on creativity can always be something that we can learn from. We're not going to stop there either. Doctors and lawyers and their perspective on creativity, well, why not? And most certainly, and we say this with a wink in the eye, that we will be calling our friends from the industry, from other agencies who surely have interesting stories to tell. Out of the Womb is going to be about talking also to the common man on the street, the people we actually create these ads for. What is their perspective on advertising? How do they consume media? We're going to be talking to them as well. And again, why not? Because the purpose of this podcast is larger than ourselves. It is to leave this industry a little more enriched, a little more together, a little more positive than what we found them. So, welcome to Out of the Womb, an original podcast series from The Womb. Welcome, Kaval.
Welcome, Naveen, and welcome everybody. And the last point that Naveen spoke about of leaving something behind positive is something we're very serious about. We've not done this till now, and now that we've started, our s- our larger purpose is to give a little back. The industry has given a lot to us, and carry all views along. And we'll be happy to have and host counter views, those views counter to ours, on this podcast, so that we can engage in a meaningful debate. And while you see our name here, this is not going to be just about us. This is going to be about everything that matters to our industry and should matter, and the things that actually matter to the industry but have not been made to matter till now. We hope we'll pick up those subjects and do our best to bring those alive for everyone. So, welcome to Out of the Womb.
And as is the wont, we will request you to like, share, subscribe, share your comments, tell us what you think, and help us make this even better for all of you.
Yeah, and if you have suggestions on anything that should be of interest to the industry or any aspect of creativity that we should cover and we should bring alive here, please write and we'll try our best to bring that alive as well.
Yeah. We're going to start today the first episode of Out of the Womb and talk about the entire journey that we've had with Dinshaw's ice cream in the last 3 years. So, welcome to Out of the Womb, first episode on Dinshaw's ice cream. Welcome, bye. Finally.
Welcome. Yes,
Finally, our
long time
podcast
coming.
is out there. Hopefully, after this, if it gets edited on time. Out of the Womb. Nice name.
I love it. And it is symbolic of our mindset. हम लोग बोलते नहीं हैं तो फाइनली अगर बोल रहे हैं तो नाम भी ऐसा होना चाहिए.
Correct. Out of the Womb. Nice
Out
name,
of the Womb
actually.
is a nice
Yeah.
name actually.
Yeah. In fact, all our, some of those, like even our Insta handle, the Boom Kicks,
Yeah.
and we didn't finish it.
It's still kicking.
Yeah, it's still kicking. Yeah. Anyway, let's start with Dinshaw's. No, I was actually, wondering what might be useful for the audiences who are watching this. An ice cream is an ice cream is an ice cream, right? Some may like the vanilla of Amul, some may like the vanilla of Quality Walls, and some may like the Dinshaw vanilla, right?
Yeah.
So, in a category which is so specific to an individual palate, what is the role that strategy and positioning plays for a category like this?
Whoa.
और ये लगा चक्का. First question out of the park.
I think the role of strategy and positioning remains the same for most brands. In today's environment, how do you get noticed? How do you get remembered? And how do you get wanted? And if you were to look at whatever names you give to strategy and positioning and anything else, to my mind, those are the three things that a good campaign needs to achieve. Firstly, you need to get noticed. And for that, you need cut through and all the jargon industry terminologies that we use. And then you need to be remembered. How many Insta videos do you remember? You enjoy them in the moment, but what makes you remember it is something that has some meaning that stays inside you, and then it comes out at the time when you have to make a decision or when you have to talk about it. So something that gets remembered, and then something that makes you want it, and it could be many things that can make you want something. Getting something noticed, getting something remembered, and getting something desired is a little more complex in long funnel categories, where it's not just being noticed or remembered or being wanted. The funnel is so long. Sometimes you need to buy a car. It takes 3 months, 4 months. You're buying a house, or you're doing matchmaking. These are long processes with high stakes, and you have to do many, many more things, not just these 2 or 3 things. But with a lot of FMCG categories with very, very short purchase funnels. And what I mean by short purchase funnel is, ad देखा, अच्छा लगा, अगली बार तुम गए, उस category का दिल किया, and you remembered, and you thought that is the one that you want to try, and you tried. Right? So in short funnel categories, it's just these 3 things. And especially when you now bring in small tickets, small indulgence categories like a 10 rupee ice cream or a 10 rupee, you hardly get 10 rupees ka ice cream except Dinshaw.
Yeah, that's true.
And the kind of stuff.
That's a shameless plug on Dimshaw, and we're absolutely happy to do that.
Yeah, you can't, what they do and how they think and how they are.
Yeah, they're
as
absolutely,
people.
yeah. In today's day and age.
In today's day and age, I mean, they are an anachronism. And yeah, so it becomes a little easier. So yeah, the long and short of it is you got to get a campaign noticed, remembered, and make the brand or the ad
But
or the
that's
product wanted.
that's about the campaign, Kaval. I was also interested that the audience understand for an impulse category which is driven largely on saliency,
Yeah.
and to sort of trigger that impulse.
Yeah.
What's the role of positioning? What's the role of, and because we've often spoken about
Yeah.
creativity in strategy,
Yeah.
right? So what's that? How do you, why do you think that's important? Because
Yeah.
most food brands,
Yeah.
are lazy enough to say taste and get away. They say taste in different ways,
Yeah.
but they get out
Yeah.
after saying taste,
Yeah.
and that's lazy positioning.
Yeah.
So, what was your thinking when this task came out and we realized that we had to now position this brand?
I think the role of positioning is as much internal as external, where it's a multi segment, multi SKU category
Correct.
brand, and they offer all kinds of stuff. And we're only right now talking ice creams,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah,
there
they
is
also do.
so ice cream itself is a very large portfolio,
Yeah.
and then there's dairy with milk and curd and paneer
Yeah.
and dahi and all of that, right? And the positioning task that we got was for the brand,
Yeah.
and it's the same brand across all, and hence the positioning had to work across all. You have to derive it, elicit it from something, but then you got to make it work for everything,
Yeah.
right? So the task was as much internal as it was customer
For
facing,
customers, yeah,
right?
consumers, yeah.
Clearly, if it's an ice cream, you need to find a way to make it desirable. You need to make it uh, salient, like you said.
Yeah.
And there is nothing like, and those are new words to talk about noticeability.
Correct.
And we said, make it noticed, make it remembered, make it wanted. These are new words, cultural catchphrases that everyone's using. Uh, but the heart of the matter is that when there's so much noise, especially in summer,
Yeah.
with multiple categories waking up literally, right, from deos and air conditioners and refrigerators and cold drinks and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. How do you find a way to position a small Nagpur based brand with an amazing legacy? This brand started in 1932.
Yeah.
So it's almost like very few people know it. But people who've lived in that part of India remember it fondly. And they don't remember it fondly as a value brand. They just remember it fondly as a brand that is part of their memories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, in fact, also one of the things I remember we used to chat about when this task came to us was also the fact that in summers, while Dinshaw will spend what it will spend, the competitors are going to spend, maybe 50 times more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and therefore, how should we ensure that the positioning is so sharp
Yeah.
that it becomes a preference builder for the brand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Of
that
course.
also was a challenge, given the fact that
Yeah.
the budgets are not what
Yeah. And
multinationals.
Dildari actually
Yeah.
is.
I'm coming to
is-
Dildari
Yeah.
in a
And
bit.
it's something that
Yeah.
we articulated.
Yeah. I mean, the next question obviously is, how did we land on? I mean, everybody would love to know how did you reach Dildari for an ice cream brand?
Yeah.
Because it's not saying taste. Strange enough
Yeah.
that for something that we eat,
Yeah.
we are not
And the
talking
obvious
taste at
thing
all.
would have been to look at some angle of
Some
taste,
angle of
which
taste.
is
Yeah,
fresh, and
absolutely.
insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jimmy is one of the founders, actually from the family, because the company is like almost 96, 97 years old. And Jimmy came and he briefed us. And we had asked him once, so what is it that makes people keep coming back to
Dinshaw.
Dinshaw again and again and again, and families and generations keep coming back to
Yeah.
Dinshaw again? And there are so many options now, and those options are very exotic. Like some of the brands that are coming out of Gujarat are very exotic. Gujarat is a natural ice
Foodie
cream
place, yeah.
and ice cream place. Actually, he didn't speak about the ice cream initially. He spoke about the way they think and the things they do, like the anecdote that he shared with us on completely overturning a milk lorry.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
And
No,
said, look,
100 liters, right?
No, it was like any milk lorry would carry close to 4 to 5 tons of milk
4 to 5 tons.
of milk,
Fuck, I'm off.
right?
I'm really off.
Right, and they, when the milk arrived, they just did their due checks, and I know that, and he spoke about those tests as well. That while the industry does about 15, 16 tests, they
Yeah, he
do a
does.
humongous number of more tests, right? And when they checked the quality of milk and they didn't find it to be totally up to the mark, they just spilled the lorry,
Yeah.
spilled the milk literally,
Yes, with the milk.
right? And or the other crazy thing that we saw when we were walking around the factory,
Yeah.
that they would pick broken peanuts and take them out,
Yeah, they'll take them out. Yeah.
right? And they'd ensure that the whole peanuts go in.
Into the ice cream. Yeah. Yeah.
Or their mango ice creams. They don't call their mango ice creams Alfonso ice creams,
Yeah.
and that's the humble side of their thinking. There are enough brands who may put a drop of Alfonso and then label it as Alfonso ice cream, and these are the guys who do actually the reverse.
Yeah. 100%.
And they had like an opportunity to put 10% kesar, which is not a bad breed of mango,
Yeah.
but they would choose to make
100%
ice creams
Alfonso.
100% Alfonso.
Even
Or-
that
or-
other one, no? They buy saffron from
Oh yeah, from one trader
in Kashmir.
from Kashmir.
From Kashmir. So the best
From
quality.
Kashmir, the best quality saffron
Yeah,
has been like 40 years, 45 years.
Yeah.
It's been a long time now. Or even the kulfi, the slow churn kulfi. I mean, they churn it for 20. Who does that nowadays?
That's the
Right,
old
so
way to make
It's
kulfi.
the old way to do it, and always giving that little extra. And sometimes, and you remember, we said, look, this seems like a very Bawa thing to do.
Yeah, we said thoda.
Thoda
Parsi type.
Parsi. There's a Parsi.
We had one. We had even we had something like made by Parsis, made with love, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
And he was very embarrassed.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, no.
He
no,
was
no.
very clear. He didn't want to do the Parsi. route.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that. But I think there was this way of thinking, like for us, bred on so many MNC brands and all that, just seemed to be irrational.
Yeah.
And there was so much that they wanted to give,
Yeah.
and not, price it out of whack. But this whole thing of large-heartedness and generosity.
Generosity.
And then there's this mad side of them, the irrational side of them. And I remember when we got to this thought of irrational generosity, we all were excited and we said, look, this defines them. And then when we shared with them, they just smiled.
Yeah.
And they obviously thought that it was authentic. And I think that is so core to strategy development nowadays,
Yeah.
that there is very little authenticity in strategy.
Yeah.
It is very often it comes from an intention, which is not well founded on fact. The intentions go when people change and leave organizations, and new intentions come in, and those have their own challenges. But when you have a founder or an entrepreneur who's literally putting his beliefs into his products, it's important to understand what those beliefs are. And then you can find a way to create a story or an envelope around the product which can make them desirable.
Yeah.
And when we went and spoke to people because this is a brand that sells a lot in the Vidarbha region
Yeah,
primarily,
yeah,
and then it
yeah.
kind of spread from there. But I remember speaking to customers and I was just going to say that we still do this, man. Going and speaking
course
to
we do.
customers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
never
speaking to
forget
people.
that. You could be 32 years experience, you still need to speak to customers.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't get the conviction. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Second-hand research doesn't give you the conviction. So, and I remember, one person who said, कि ये तो 15 रुपए की है, बाकी 20 रुपए के हैं, तो ये बढ़ाते क्यों नहीं है प्राइस?
Yeah.
And I had not heard that before.
Yeah.
A value brand, not seen as a value brand, but as a brand that gives so much more that they can take up the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had shared this with Jimmy, and Jimmy said no.
I won't take up the
You may
price.
have met a few people who are saying this, but there is a large part of India that's still, and that's wise of him. So we got to irrational
Generosity.
generosity, and then we realized that the milk they sell, the paneer they sell,
Yeah.
uh, the 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 creaminess in the curd, they all reflect that belief because it's coming from a belief.
Yeah.
And that's when we realized that this belief they have, if it is seeping through in every category, then why would you not want to say that this is the belief on which this brand should be built? Now, the whole task was how do you bring this alive and make this matter to the larger
Consumer base.
consumer base? Yeah.
Tell me, I know I'm digressing. We said this podcast was only about the Dinshaws, but I'm just thinking back on Axis Mutual Fund that we did many years ago.
बिजॉयदा इस जंगल के तजुर्बेकार टूरिस्ट गाइड, और यहाँ हैं टाइगर्स, आदमखोर मैन ईटर्स। यहाँ घूमना काफी रिस्की हो सकता है क्योंकि हमला पीछे से भी हो सकता है, पर बिजॉयदा को पता है कि यहाँ के टाइगर्स आंखों में आंखें डालकर हमला नहीं करते। कुछ ऐसी ही रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ हम आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट्स पर आने वाली रिस्क्स को मैनेज करना जानते हैं। एक्सिस म्यूचुअल फंड, द रिस्पॉन्सिबल म्यूचुअल फंड। म्यूचुअल फंड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आर सब्जेक्ट टू मार्केट रिस्क्स। रीड ऑल स्कीम रिलेटेड डॉक्यूमेंट्स केयरफुली।
Huh.
And I'm thinking, of course, on the Piramal campaign that we've done.
Yeah.
नमस्ते सर।
नमस्ते।
वो लोन के लिए आपने अप्लाई
सर यही बताने आए हो ना कि मुझे काम काज के लिए लोन नहीं मिल सकता क्योंकि मेरे पास धंधे के, कमाई के कोई पक्के कागज नहीं है और मेरे सारे पेपर
लोन
तो
मिलेगा सर। हमने पता किया है कि आपने किसी से 1 लाख लिया हो या 1 रुपया, हमेशा लौटाया है। लोन मिलेगा।
हम कागज से ज्यादा नीयत देखते हैं। पिरामल फाइनेंस।
Is the starting point of your strategy is to find the truth within the organization or within the brand, and of course the organization? I would say both. Because in both these cases, Piramal and Axis, I think we found the truth within the organization.
Yeah.
DNA that became the brand's DNA and
Yeah.
and the positioning.
Yeah.
So is that your is
It-
that
no,
is
it's-
that your advice on starting point for strategy?
No, I think it's a very thought-provoking question. While yes, across all the years of work that we've done, there are quite a few examples like these where we've
I
started
could think of
from.
these two instantly.
Yeah, and I'm sure if we think hard,
Yeah, we'll-
milenge
yeah, we
up
should
and
be
go.
more,
We'll
yeah.
we'll find more.
Yeah.
But sometimes what happens is you don't do the due diligence on interrogating every aspect of the business and the brand, and you run straight to culture, you run straight to consumers, and then you parrot back what they're saying, and the advertising parrots back what they have already told you.
So there's nothing new.
And
there.
there's nothing new. It's just a cycle of sameness that you're repeating again and again and again. So going back on irrational generosity,
Yeah.
when we got to it, and people think, oh, ek campaign kiya. Many agencies do that nowadays. I don't know what
The
brief-
project-based agencies do that.
Yeah,
I said
a
the
lot of-
project-based
lot of the
agencies,
project-based
yeah, because they
agencies-
just want to do a campaign.
Yeah, and I don't know what briefs they get, but they end up doing a campaign, and fair to them because they come in at that time. you and I, Naveen, we both wanted always to be involved through
The entire process.
the entire process,
Yeah.
because we want to know what happened.
Yeah.
Right. So-
And work from there.
and then again work from there, because
Yeah.
very often the real work starts after you've put out the first campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, I only wish clients who do projects understand this, but yeah. Yeah, back
So,
to
yeah,
irrational
so-
generosity.
Yeah, so irrational generosity happened, and last year we did another campaign.
Yeah.
And at that time, Dinshaw did not have any new innovation.
Yeah.
So it was just the same ice cream. So we
You're
had to.
taking away my cue cards. You're taking away my questions.
I'll
Even
wait.
before- No, go on. No, go on.
No,
go
no.
on.
And at that time, we didn't have any new
Innovation.
innovation.
Yeah.
And again, one of the old adages we live with, which is if you have something interesting to say it simply.
Yeah.
If you have something simple to say it interestingly. Last year we had something simple to say, so we did what we did. That campaign worked for them. Last year, actually, the summer last year was
Was yeah.
literally non-existent.
Yeah, because
and,
of the early
and
rains
many
last year.
categories.
Yeah.
Then had a bit of a problem. But in October, Zervin, Jimmy's son and the guy who literally runs the company now, Zervin called Dhaval and he said, look, can you guys come over? Because for next year, we're planning a slew of innovations. But there's so many that we'd like your help in picking, shortlisting. And then we spent, I remember we went to
Yeah, they
Nagpur
make you eat a lot of ice cream,
and
man.
26 ice creams over and over and over
Yeah.
again with lower sugar content, higher sugar content, more creamy, less creamy, more fruit, less fruit. And now I'm saying these are versions of 26,
Yeah.
right? And I think as a group, we picked 3 or 4. We took them into the market. We'd taken them to about 4 or 5 cities.
Consumers, you mean?
Consumers.
Okay.
And then after fairly deep research, 2 were shortlisted. Now between the 2, one was one came to, so everything had to come true on Dildari and irrational generosity. Just, they had to have a little more than what other ice creams would have at the same price point. But those 2 were liked a lot more.
Which ones were these?
So one had so think of it like a cone with chocolate and chocolate inside and more chocolate inside. So 3 kinds of chocolate
Inside one chocolate cone.
inside one chocolate cone.
3
so
different kinds of chocolate.
does it remind you of another campaign that we've done on
Which?
chocolate and
Oh yeah. Yeah, Britannia. Oh yeah, me. I should remember.
so you should remember. How can you forget?
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, so it's actually a very small thing, but one of the things that we learned when we spoke to a lot of young people is that, of course, they like the cone and the ice cream and the dollop, but they all wait for the base of the cone, where they find a chunky piece of chocolate inside.
Yeah.
It's almost like finding the treasure at the end.
Yeah.
And this is, sometimes you do little things and you think, oh, itna hi hai kya? Lekin they actually mean a lot more.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So
we've always said no innovation is small or big. It has to be meaningful.
it has to be meaningful.
Yeah.
Right. And Jimmy, when he shared, he said, look, I've just added 2 times, 3 times. How do you say thrice? So 1 level, 2 level, 3. So 3 levels
Of chocolate.
chocolate inside the cone. So literally the chocolate inside the cone was halfway up to the cone. Yeah. And because people loved the chocolate at the end of the cone, that is what made people pick this one as the top one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not from the outside, it must seem like, oh, we got a brief. There was a
कि
product.
3x cone है, हाँ.
There was a product with 3 times more chocolate at the base of the cone, and we did a campaign. No. Obviously, there was a journey.
Of identifying which innovation will help build preference, not just for the cone, but for the
Dinshaw
Dinshaw brand. This summer.
And also be a great proof point for Dildari.
Yeah.
and irrational generosity, right? So,
Which was a filter anyway across all 26. That
which
you-
was yeah.
But these
right.
were like the best proof points of Dildari
Correct. So they had to come true on
Yeah.
Dildari, but also had to
on,
be
on taste.
exciting enough for young
Yeah.
people to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this sounds new
Yeah.
and nice."
No, that's interesting. Let's just talk about that. It has to be true on Dildari. It has to be true on taste, but it also has to be true on what consumers like and how they consume an ice cream. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
everybody waits for the treasure in the end,
Yeah,
which makes that Dildari more relevant Dildari, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word.
yeah.
Than some other Dildari, which may also be good, but
Yeah.
just less relevant than the
Like I
3X
remember,
cone.
I'll give you an example on what you're saying. There were some which had a lot more pista. And we know when they put pista, they put pista.
Yeah, pista, and the best pista.
And the best pista, right? Or many had, Amul says made with real milk, and some other brands are fighting,
Yeah.
their own game of frozen desserts,
Yeah.
and sometimes calling themselves milk, sometimes not. This was not just milk. This was like proper full cream milk,
Yeah.
and it was the creamiest ice cream you could get in $15. It is a sign of Dildari, but it is just incremental. There's nothing to hold.
Also beyond the point, not differentiated enough. तुम मतलब
Yeah.
creamy milk हो, दूसरा creamier है, तीसरा creamiest है,
Correct.
but मतलब वही zone है.
Exactly.
So
So,
Nice.
And then this happened. We said, look, this is the one that we think we should promote this year. And unlike last year, because we did not have any innovation, the human side of Dildari had to take precedence in storytelling. This year, because there was an
anchor.
innovation,
Yeah.
there was a product. We said, let's lead this summer's campaign by making this product the hero, and let the Dildari come through the product.
nice.
So and then of course, and there's nothing like clients agreed to us or because they're part of the journey. And the other thing that happens with as
Inevitability has to be
yeah, I mean there has to be an inevitability of strategy
yeah. Or any decision you take
or
with the
any
client.
decision you take where you're walking together
Yeah.
and you've discussed so much. There was nothing that so Jimmy and Zervin were all on board, and
Yeah.
then Malvika,
Yeah.
we all know her
Yeah.
as Malu.
Our favorite Malu.
as Malu.
Yeah.
Malu, of course, was a strong partner
Yeah.
in the entire journey, and Malu. So everyone got excited and aligned on this, and that's how that part happened. So
Nice. Superb. And then the brief to creative, was it Dildari and 3X Cone? Because they had already done a campaign on Dildari. They understood the brand.
yes,
Yeah.
very often it's an admission as much as a boast. The admission is that more often than not, the insight often goes from the planning teams at our agency.
Yeah.
So that's the admission that in this one, the insight that drove the campaign that everybody saw did not come from the planning
Yeah.
team.
So we'll get to that.
So that's the admission. The boast is that it was such a beautiful insight from a creative person.
Yeah. Gunjan.
Gunjan.
Yeah.
Yes. And when Gunjan shared the piece, and we all were part of that journey.
Yeah.
And
That meeting I was there. Yeah.
yeah, and we heard about 5 or 6 great stories. And because this product was new and interesting, there were obviously scripts that dramatized this difference.
Yeah.
And they were all
I mean,
nice.
these are the kind of briefs that actually creatives have fun on because it's about it's very sharp because it's about the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some
it's
nice
about a differentiator in the product. Rather.
Yeah. And if you recall, there were some fairly nice
Very
pieces
good
of work.
ones, yeah.
Right? And in fact, there was a debate at the client's end ki kaun si karni chahiye.
Correct.
We all but I think we both fell in love with the beauty of this insight.
So just for the benefit
Okay.
of the audience, if you can
So जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला, उनके लिए
थोड़ा ज़्यादा.
Now, when we heard it, so my personal feeling when I heard that from Gunjan was such a beautiful way to position something as actually we all get excited with these innovations, but in
छोटी
the
innovation
largest, in the larger scheme of things, 3 times more cone, more
Chocolate.
chocolate in a cone. I mean, it's not like life changing.
Yeah, it's not the bulb.
It's not. It's not the bulb. It's not. I'm still going to go back and stress about my studies or my
Yeah,
whatever. So, come to think of it, in today's environment, especially, who doesn't feel कि उनको life में कम मिला? I had shared this insight with a client who runs a $1 billion company. He said, Kawal, मुझे भी लगता है लाइफ में कम
I'm
मिला
sure
मुझे।
अंबानी इसको भी लगता है.
सभी को लगता होगा
कोई ना कोई एस्पेक्ट में तो उनको लगता होगा कि लाइफ में कम मिला.
we all believe we deserved more in
Yeah,
life
yeah.
than we got. So it's not about, that's the first point of distinction I want to draw, that it is not about some people.
Yes.
It is about that side in each of us. Somewhere deep down, all of us have felt कि हमको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला,
Yeah.
right? So we just loved the thought, and then of course, I remember.
There was one more discussion. If you remember, the other stories were, like you said, were coming from product.
Yeah.
This was coming from human truth.
Yeah.
The client had really wanted us to narrow down and sharply talk about 3x cone. But our submission to the client was that हमने शुरू किया था कि अपन एक प्रोडक्ट का ऐड बनाएंगे.
Right.
लेकिन क्योंकि हमने ये जिनको लाइफ में कम मिला उनके लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा पे पहुँचे हैं. So this also becomes a brand film for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
true.
just a product film.
That's true.
Or a product innovation film or a product news film.
Yeah.
But it also becomes a brand film for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that
Yeah.
that helped the client also see the perspective
Yeah.
or have a perspective on how to evaluate
Yeah.
the
that's so
campaigns that we shared.
That's so true. And
Yeah.
जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला उनके लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा is a straight take on दिलदारी.
Correct.
Right. And then of course
उनके लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा तीन गुना चॉकलेट ज़्यादा.
3 गुना ज़्यादा.
That landed back on
That
Dildari
landed
then.
back on the product.
Yeah.
And if you remember when we wrote to Jimmy, and he said, "Yeah, can you explain how this campaign will actually work?"
Yeah.
And we said, look, it's easy to say 3x more. And there are many in cosmetics and categories where say 3x more. Right? So if we end up doing a 3x more story,
Yeah.
then creative will have to do such heavy lifting
Yeah. And monies that you need
and
to
monies
spend
that you have to spend. Because it's just finally 3x more, right?
Yeah.
In your category with the cone, you made it a little more meaningful.
Correct.
But finally, if you look outside in, it's just a 3x more story. Now, how do you give a little more meaning and depth to a 3x more story? That's one, which is where the role of an insight comes through.
Correct.
And then, of course, the insight happened to be one that also helps amplify the brand platform.
Correct.
And if you recall, Gunjan had said, so who's the best guy to
Yeah,
carry
I'm
this?
just coming to that. So we as an agency actually don't believe in celebrities. Or at least not the way the industry believes in the way, sorry, let me just rephrase that. We don't believe in using celebrities in the way the industry uses them.
Yeah.
But in this one, we said, who's the best person to represent this thought?
Yeah. And if you recall the sequence of that conversation,
Yeah.
Among the 5 campaigns, we picked this one. I said, okay, if you're going to go with this, at that time, there were no celebrities,
Yeah.
right? And we said, okay, so if we do this with Dinshaw's money, which is not very large,
Too much. Yeah.
it'll not get the energy that it needs.
Yeah.
The insight will work as much as it will work, but it still needs the energy of
Yeah.
something that can propel this, something
Yeah.
that can amplify this.
Yeah.
So who's the best carrier of this? While it applies, this insight works with everybody, but culturally, who are the people who are recognized?
Of कि इनको लाइफ में
कि यार
कम मिला
इनको
है.
लाइफ उसमें कोई डिबेट नहीं होगी
Correct.
कि
There's a residual understanding of that in culture,
yeah,
of that individual not getting enough.
you may like this person, not like this person, whatever that might be, but you don't disagree that शायद इनको life में काम मिला. And if you recall, there was Rajpal Yadav.
Yeah. Well, he unfortunately at that
He
time
had,
got
at that
in
time
court
had
in
that,
court
had that
case.
issue, and of course he's, at least for me, and I know for you, the fabulous actor.
Yeah, brilliant.
And
It was Rakhi Sawant.
of course Rakhi Sawant, and then Gunjan came up with Vinod
Oh,
Kambli.
there was one more before that.
Kaun tha?
It was Abhishek Bachchan as well.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, nothing.
See,
I mean, they all had residual memories of not getting what they deserved. Even, I mean, one could argue Arjun Tendulkar could also be a person.
yeah.
If one had to talk about that, and then of course, like you were saying,
Yeah.
continue. Gunjan came up with.
And I remember again some parts of those conversations here. Some people may have got the platforms, which other people of their same quality may not have if they didn't have
Yeah.
the lineage and the pedigree that they had.
Yeah.
And then Gunjan spoke about Vinod Kambli.
Yeah. That was
And
outstanding.
I think there was a moment of aha in that room. And I
Yeah.
said, and I think there's an odd relationship with Vinod Kambli. He's like the bad boy who never got a mentor.
Actually, I'm just
It's almost
thinking
like-
now, why did we all land on Vinod Kambli? We agree, it's almost like you agree that that proposition or that insight fits Abhishek Bachchan. You agree it fits Rajpal Yadav. You agree it fits Rakhi Sawant, arguably. You agree that it fits Vinod Kambli, but then there's an added layer of emotional attachment to that person.
Yeah.
You instantly feel for that person.
Yeah.
And we felt that if we put it out, even the audiences will feel for him.
Yeah, and the good thing is he's a son of the soil. He's from Maharashtra.
Yeah, and that also. Yeah.
And this brand is a Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh,
Correct.
Hyderabad, and now increasingly MP.
Yeah.
That belt. So, and I think there's a certain underdog story about
Yeah.
Vinod Kambli. Many people considered him to be more talented than Sachin.
Yeah. I discovered during this process that he has a better test average than Sachin Tendulkar.
Yeah, actually, now that
Yeah.
you say,
I think he's at 58 something and Sachin's just a little lower than that.
yeah, and so I mean, it's amazingly talented fellow.
Yeah.
Maybe he made mistakes, and then there was nobody who could shepherd him. Somebody like a Rahul Dravid, or
Yeah.
maybe at that time if he'd got a father figure,
Yeah.
got him online. So you never know. But I think there's a certain fondness for Kambli, and we just felt he fitted the bill. And the good thing was the client was as excited. Zervin, thankfully, he plays cricket.
Yeah.
And Zervin was totally
Even
in
Srirang
tune with.
actually
Yeah,
was super
Srirang,
excited.
Of course, and then we spoke to a few people, and they're all very excited around us. So yeah, I mean that's the journey. Now wait, now
That's when we landed on Kambli. Yeah.
yeah. Now
Yes.
this is a little bit of a flip now. Now
Tu
this is
puchega.
where
Tu
yeah. I spoke a lot. I talked a lot. So I'll stop here. But now I'll ask you, Naveen. From here, talk a little about the journey.
In the 11 years in the womb, and of course many years before that at Ogilvy, we've worked across celebrities. Aamir, Vicky Kaushal, Bachchan, everybody.
Yeah.
I think the closest I got to a celeb was Aamir. Yeah. But the most emotionally attached I got to was Kambli. You go, that man after having a stroke, his spirit, when we went to meet him, because we somehow found his manager, and because he's not endorsed a brand for like zillions of years. So there was no manager set up. So we somehow found his manager, and then we landed up at his house on a Saturday. And we told him we want you to do something for us. And we said, can we share this script? when we said, can we share the script? And between that and we actually sharing the script was 2.5 hours. Because he would just narrate stories. And after every story, he'll say, Haila. So he's such a darling, yeah. He's such a darling.
Yeah.
He's such a darling. And I think we fell in love with him just there. We knew that for an ice cream brand which is soft and cheerful, and it's got that childlike innocence. Even like if you're standing and eating a cone, I see a child there.
Yeah.
When I stand and eat a cone, you see a child there.
Yeah.
And we saw that child in Kamli. And we just that instant knew that he was just perfect.
And
for
was
us.
it, did that surprise you? Because, the public memory of Kamli is, the biggest public memory is of Kamli weeping at Eden Gardens.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, he spoke about that.
And then
spoke
he,
about that.
and he was an intense person.
Yeah.
And now to hear from you that actually he was very light.
Yeah,
in his,
he had it took us a while to understand what he was saying because he had a speech problem.
Okay.
So, our collective memories from Eden Gardens, from Chennai, him scoring that double century, which again he spoke of. He's an amazing mimic, yeah. He was mimicking Vivian Richards. So I asked him, you played with Vivian Richards, right? He was in that game in Chennai. He said, yeah, वो आता है ऐसा. ऐसा करते हुए आता है. So, it's just, you rarely spend little time with a celebrity and fall in love with him. And I was there, Gunjan was there, Dhaval was there in that meeting, Suyash was there. And we all came out excited but quiet, all introspective, and just, feeling what we had experienced inside. So we were sold.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, how did he react to the script?
Oh, he loved the film. He was like, he found it. How do I put it? He found it funny. He found it funny. For him, it was like, जिनको life में कम मिला, it wasn't even like he
And
he didn't
and Naveen,
frown
that's
at it.
the intent behind my question.
Yeah, I know.
That sometimes, when, and especially few people have said a few things about, we all know what the rest of the world has,
No, I'll come to that,
has felt. But sometimes the instinctive reaction of a person who's being told a story, which could perhaps be seen as his story, and his instinctive reaction can tell a lot about how he's feeling about it.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying, that he's such a positive guy that he didn't even like, there wasn't even a frown on his face or a wrinkle on his forehead saying, अरे ये तुम क्या बोल रहे हो मेरे बारे में.
चलो 1 मिनट के लिए
वो
ये भी
इतना पॉजिटिव आदमी हो.
ये कर लें कि उसको समझो, because he's been off the screen for a long period of time and he's a star, or he was a star, and he may be missing screen time.
Yeah.
So maybe you can argue and say कि maybe he wanted to be on the screen again and whatever money he's getting, so he may feign happiness. But his wife, who's like
She was in tears.
yeah, and I think maybe we can just talk about how her reaction was.
She's such a supportive woman, firstly. That if Kamli had said no, she would have said no. If Kamli says yes, she'll say yes.
Even if Kamli had said yes, and she would have felt that there is likely to be a perception problem and what the world might think.
She would have mentioned it, but I know when because I was, they both were sitting together and we were Gunjan was narrating to Kamli. So I was looking at Kamli and I was looking at her. Kamli had this impish smile on his face. She had tears in her eyes. And I think she connected with the story as well.
Okay,
so I
that
don't think
answers-
I don't
that
think she
answers a
ever,
lot.
no, not see that entire
So-
family, despite going through what they have, especially the recent stroke and all that, they just remain superbly positive.
And those 2 children are so
Oh,
cute.
the children are, the son's a cricketer as well.
Yeah.
Lefty.
Lefty.
Yeah. Lefty again. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the narration of the script. And then, of course, we started looking for a director.
Yeah. And talk about that part of the journey.
So we had to find a director who has the maturity to handle not just the subject, but also the man.
Yeah.
at the shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to be extremely patient with him because we knew going in that this man's not going to deliver this in 2 takes.
Yeah.
Line एक ही है. वो
Yeah,
2 take.
and-
He's not an actor.
Yeah.
He has a health condition. He's not going to rattle this off in 20 minutes and get out. You need to work with him. Yeah, and you need to be superbly patient and very mature. Yeah. So we found this director. Actually, we had been sort of tracking her since the time she had done a Franklin Templeton campaign for Rags at 82.5.
Okay, I don't remember.
Wonderful campaign, beautifully handled, again on humor. Girl called Riya Singh. Yeah, so we called her and we told her, listen, you have all the right to say no to this. We are already talking to her about something else, but we said, listen, we'll narrate a script to you. You're totally, I mean, it's totally fine if you don't want to do it, but we'd love for you to do it. And she heard the script and she said, I'm doing this.
How often have you heard that from
What?
directors?
I didn't charge a director's fee?
No, from directors कि ये तो मैं ही करूँगा.
Well, Amit says that very often. Amit Sharma. I've said quite a few times. Bob has said it very many times.
And
They just want to tell a good story if it's out
and
there.
some people might say, oh, ये तो
पैसे
तरीके
बनाने के
हैं
लिए, हाँ.
to show that I'm so keen. But we know that these people, I mean, we've worked with these guys
Yeah.
for like more than 15 years now.
20 years now.
And we have, there have
They
been enough
equally say-
time.
they equally say no
there-
to a
enough
script,
times
yeah.
when they say, यार ये मेरे से
मज़ा
नहीं
नहीं आ
होगी या मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है.
हाँ, मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है.
So-
And that's respected.
Yeah.
We have always respected if the director is not there's a time, I won't name the director, we narrated a funny film to him and he didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
So we kept the call and we said, dude, ये तो नहीं करेंगे अपन. वो बंदे को funny नहीं लग
उसी
रही
को ही
film.
नहीं लगी तो
हाँ, तो फिर
वो-
बनाएगा कैसे वो?
Yeah.
So we told him delectably that boss आपको नहीं समझ में मतलब समझ में कि
Yeah,
आपको वो
and your
मज़ा नहीं आया
humor
तो
meter may be different and that's
yeah,
fine.
and that's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. So yeah, I mean that's a topic for another conversation, which is how do you match script to director?
Yeah.
Yeah, because eventually what people see on television is a video, film on digital is a video or a film, a video. So that matching process I think
Yeah.
is super
Yeah,
important.
of course.
But that is for another conversation. So shoot day went well. I mean, he was there at 6:30 in the morning. We did a bunch of other stuff with him for digital and then shot with him. Took us about 3 hours. Yeah. But again on the shoot he's I think I don't know. I mean, he was a natural. He was a natural on set. He would improvise, and he did so many different ways of doing that line.
Yeah,
It took him a while to get and remember the line and do all of that. But once he got into it, he was like flying.
I remember when you, obviously because of your performance background, you spoke about how the first line
Yeah,
should be a little solemn.
yeah,
कि यार जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला.
yeah. Introspective.
It is introspective and you think that
Somber.
oh shit, now here's a sub story.
Yeah,
And then suddenly he says with a wink and with
no, and he
total
said it
tongue in
beautifully.
cheek and he said
So because we always said जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला उनके लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा. हमने ऐसे लाइन नरेट की थी.
yeah,
उसने बोला जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला उनके लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा.
yeah.
Fuck,
that was
man,
so
you
natural.
you were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
We were
And
like, we were sure we were like, this is the edit.
Yeah, and all the you think oh so it's such a heavy thought and all that, but the way he made light of it.
Yeah, and
It was
he left you even that shot of when the boy comes and says Uncle Ball, and he looks at camera and he's just that shrug, ki, man, what happened. Now I'm here.
Hota hai, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, that the entire performance of his also was, if you just step back and say, a very positive performance, and that credit goes to Riya to extracting that. It's not easy. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And so she was like,
Wonderful.
yeah. So that was the journey.
And then of course there is an after.
There's an after, but before the after, I have to ask you a question. Because the after question we'll ask somebody else.
अच्छा ये क्या है?
So, everybody wants their campaigns to go viral. Yeah, amplified, viral, earned media, all of that stuff, right? And this campaign did go viral.
Yeah.
Apart from the 3 or 4 sort of people on LinkedIn who had a problem with it. So let's leave them aside.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read out some comments for you across YouTube and Instagram, and you know, it's rare in advertising, and this person's a managing partner. We won't name names. It's rare in advertising and risky. There's something quietly beautiful about giving someone like him, meaning Kambli, a platform again, not as a comeback story necessarily, but as a continuation. Almost like saying, you're still part of our collective memory, and that still matters. Yeah. The brand stands for real imperfect joy, where memories matter more than spotless success. Another person says, the first person finished off by saying, love it. Next person, tear glands are working. Thank you for this test. Yeah. Loving how simply and confidently this lands the promise 3 times more. Under the cone chocolate is a crisp, memorable RTV that builds Dinshaw's salience without fuss. The tone stays clean and neutral with a hint of curiosity, letting the product speak for itself. Why did this campaign become viral? We hardly spent any money. Sometimes campaigns also become viral कि यार इतने लोगों ने देख लिया, फिर और उसके ऊपर और 1000 लोग बात कर रहे हैं उस पर, तो वायरल हो जाती है. इसमें वायरलिटी एलिमेंट क्या था इसमें? द रीजन दिस बिकेम वायरल.
Obviously, there's no hard and fast rule. दिल से बात निकलती है तो दिल तक जाती है. अगर वो दिल से निकली ठीक से तो दिल तक जाती है. Coming to our specific campaign, I think we've done this earlier with Kya Chal Raha Hai, Fog Chal Raha Hai. When you pick something from culture, put a spin on it, and then put it back in culture, is the best way to, is a good way, not the best way. No, I'm not here to judge what's the best way, but it's a great way to make things travel. And now there are 2 ways in which you can look at what's in culture.
Yeah.
One is the here and now, something that's happening, something that's trendy, something that happened last week, which a lot of, to your point, project agencies end up doing.
Yeah.
Which in that moment is nice, but the life of that is just that much. But when you pick something from culture that is actually a little deeper, that's lying a little low, but if you lift it and then you portray it, there's a special way of these things traveling.
Yeah.
So what we did was exactly that. Kambli is an underdog who promised a lot but didn't achieve as much. There were enough people rooting for him, but it's a story that ended before it should have ended. And that feeling got, in a way, re-energized.
Yeah.
And I think that is what made it travel a little more than it may have otherwise.
Also, Vinod Kambli's story was in the memory of Indians. So you didn't need to explain much.
You didn't have to explain much. Absolutely.
The minute you said जिनको life में थोड़ा कम मिला, everybody resonated कि हाँ इनको तो कम मिला.
Yeah, and when you borrow from a collective belief,
Yeah.
you're giving it a little more chance to go, as they call it, viral.
Yeah. Actually, because we are on Kambli back on Kambli, one of the questions that I wanted to ask, but actually slipped my mind earlier, was, many clients would say, ours didn't. Vinod Kambli, Gen Z. Was that ever a concern, or?
You tell me. What happened at Shivaji? I think that's a great answer.
I can answer
the question.
No, everybody. I mean, at Shivaji Park, you had to see people from 8 to 80. Men and women, boys, girls, they just wanted his autograph. They wanted, I don't know how they, in that, 4 hours, they all went and got these small bats from somewhere. Maybe it's available somewhere near Shivaji Park. And they wanted his autograph. And they wanted pictures with him. And he was absolutely a sweetheart and obliging.
Yeah, and we've heard enough from the client and the...
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of these comments that you heard, some of them are obviously from that age group, because I have the age splits on that.
And one more thing that I wanted to speak about through the Kambli campaign, the thing that we evaluate our own internal work on, and we've chosen, Naveen, 2 words that may seem simplistic, but they're not. There's simple and unignorable, and the and is important. It has to be simple, whatever
And
work you do,
and
and
unignorable.
unignorable. Very often, what is simple is ignored, and what is unignorable is often complex. And I think on those counts, we've seen in our experience that the campaigns that have worked, the work that we've done, have always been built on those two principles.
So you're saying that also was one of the factors to ensure that ensured virality of it,
Yes, unignorability is a big part of virality.
and it was super simple.
Yeah. And again, if we go back to where we started on positioning and strategy,
Yeah,
you got to make people notice, you got to make people remember,
yeah.
and you got to
And
make
want.
people want.
Yeah.
And then there are a million ways of doing each of them.
For many clients and sometimes many agencies as well, virality becomes an end in itself,
Yeah.
while it should not be. At least that's what we've always believed.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about some of the results of this campaign?
Wouldn't it be great if the person who approved this campaign, Jimmy and
Zervin. Yeah.
let's call them, at least
Actually, yeah.
Zervin,
Yeah.
to come and talk about what
Yeah,
the
let's do
campaign
that.
did for them.
Yeah.
Because we may talk and we may say, people may say, oh, of course, is their campaign to or kya bolenge?
Yeah.
So let us not talk.
Over to you, Zervin, to answer my question and Kaval's request. So please tell us, what were the results of this campaign?
Okay, so first of all, the story starts when we first heard the script. We were actually in love with the script. There was no denying. There were 3-4 scripts given to us, but ultimately we locked on to the Vinod Kamli script simply because it felt more powerful. If you really ask us whether there were no inhibitions with respect to taking a personality like Vinod Kamli into our creative, yes, there were. There are absolutely no doubts that we ourselves had some level of doubts and some level of question marks in our own mind, because it's an upcoming brand for us. The kind of activities that we've been doing for the past 2-3 years, we could not afford to have anything which is on the negative side for the brand in that sense. But slowly and steadily, as the team, WOM team, went on working on the project, working on getting things aligned, it was more of conviction to go with. The brand positioning with respect to irrational generosity, the 3x cone coming into the picture, the 3 times more chocolate at the bottom of the cone, everything was aligning beautifully at the product end. And with respect to the campaign, the script had a lot of emotional connect too. And this was a perfect marriage that we saw. Definitely we saw the script to create, to break the clutter which you see in the advertising world today in that sense. And we were absolutely clear that either this campaign is going to be a delightful success or it is going to be a catastrophic failure, but very sure that it is not going to be a neutral campaign where nothing happens. You just did things for the good, but nothing really happened in that sense. So we went ahead with the creative. The creative came out very well. It went live, and ultimately in the business world, it is not the quality of your creative, but the kind of impact the creative has on business figures that really matters. And in terms of the numbers that we are seeing from the time the 3x cone Vinod Kamli creative went on air, the numbers are just simply berserk. We're seeing numbers which I have not seen in the last 15 years in the ice cream industry for a particular category. A staggering growth of close to about 50-55% in the big cone category is unheard of. It does not happen on a regular basis. The ice cream industry grows by around 10 to 15% on volumes. But if you look at our figures, the way things have gone up, I think the consumers have not really just accepted and loved the 3x chocolate part, but to a certain extent, the kind of connect the creative would have had with each and every consumer who saw the creative it's a double impact situation that we are looking at, and that has just blown the sales out of even our what you call, हमारे ख्वाब में भी हमने कभी ऐसा सोचा नहीं होगा, to a certain extent that we were forced to probably work upon our plant operations, because the lines which are manufacturing these 3x cones were already overhauling at close to about 20 hours production every day. And at one point in the month of April, we were probably 5 or 6 days behind our supply demand from the market in that sense. And we had to work very, very hard to see to it that there were no major shortages in the market, and the market's demands were fulfilled consecutively on all the days in all the months in that sense, to bring to a conclusion that in the month of April we even had to take a decision of buying a new line, which probably will be one of the biggest lines in India to manufacture cones, because if this is the trend we continue to see, I don't think so there is any way by which we will be able to fulfill market demands next summer in that sense. So when you look at from an overall picture of taking the gut call on going with the creative, the kind of impact it created on various medias, the sale figure, which is ultimately the proof of the concept which we created, tagging it along that we had to order a new line for next year in mid-season itself. These are all reasons to, probably tell you that when you really get your product and creative in sync, magic starts happening effortlessly. Though there is a lot of effort which went in, but when you look from the outside, it looks as if, सब कुछ कितना easily हो गया. But I think many a times in our business worlds today, most brands play it a little conservative. And they play it a little conservative for the right reasons. There's no denying of that fact. But to be very honest, as a company, as an organization, we would have played it conservative had it not been for Womb's team's conviction to go ahead with it in that sense. And in their conviction is what we found, the courage to give an approval and go ahead for this entire concept. And I think, success often comes to those people who dare. I think this is one of the perfect examples that we've been able to achieve in quite a time. And probably this is going to be a campaign which we'll never forget. For all the ups and downs, not for the sales figures, but for all the ups and downs that we went through, and came out with flying colors, not just from the sales figures perspective, but also from the thumbs up that we've got from our end consumers, from our trade partners, and even our distributor setup in that sense. It has been overwhelming, and sometimes I even keep talking to Womb team now. We've kind of raised the bar to such a high level that our trade and our consumers will not accept anything lower than that. So success is also pushes you towards not going beyond a certain level, and that is what we've been able to achieve, which I think is beautiful.
जिनको लाइफ में थोड़ा कम मिला, उनके लिए थोड़ा ज्यादा 3 गुना ज्यादा।
डिनशॉस कोन के नीचे वाली चॉकलेट अब 3 गुना ज्यादा। दिलदार डिनशॉस।
अंकल बॉल।
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kaval.
Thanks, Naveen.
Lovely first podcast. Vodcast, I don't know what they call it anymore, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was
great
fun.
asking you
It was
questions,
fun
great
and-
answering some questions that you had. And so that's a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed our very first episode of Out of the Womb. We promise to bring you a lot more. We, of course, can bring you a lot more if you can like, share, subscribe. Please throw in your comments as well. We'd love to hear what you liked about this podcast, but more importantly, what you didn't like about it. We'd love to hear that as well, so that we can keep sort of improving this. But for the moment, thank you for watching, and we promise to be back very, very soon when we have something nice to share.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.